Greetings, all you ninja in training out there. I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, coming at you again with another review of Boruto, Naruto Next Generation. This time it's chapter 33, titled Limit Break. And despite a very cool sounding name, this chapter has continued on the controversy of, quite frankly, the power of Naruto in and of itself. Now, let's not make any mistake, because as soon as Naruto sees the damage done to Kawaki by Delta's blast, with Kawaki trying to protect Himawari and him from attack, Kawaki got some damage, Naruto is pissed, and he decides to go all out. But so many fans have deemed this too little, too late. And, from a storytelling perspective, I personally can understand why they went this route. They want to show that, this new group, Kara, isn't a pushover. They're a legitimate threat. You're trying to establish them as people to be wary of. But at the same time, it's a delicate balancing act in trying to make sure that Naruto himself still feels powerful. And it feels like a lose-lose situation because, after this point, Naruto just starts going all out for the most part, at least from a certain perspective. He just starts wailing on Delta, and it looks fairly brutal to a certain degree. But many people comment that, they don't care if he's actually proving that he has the might to take her down. They feel that it's just, no, with everything that we've seen from Naruto, with the way we've seen him develop, especially throughout the course of Shippuden, he shouldn't be having this much trouble. From going toe to toe with literal gods of the Naruto world, to taking on basically what is the equivalent to Android 18, it doesn't feel, for most people, like it should even be this way. There shouldn't be any form of struggle here. If he's just holding back or not, he should be one-shotting them. And that's the ultimate downfall of that kind of parallel. Whereas in Dragon Ball, you establish the androids as like, they're monsters, they're devastating, they wiped everyone out in this alternate timeline. You do not underestimate them. Fear them. They are coming and they will kill us all. You got that hype behind that because of what Future Trunks represented. But here, there's nothing really to compare this power to. Delta just arrives on the scene and starts going at the main character, and there's no buffer room here. There's nothing to establish her as someone who should be able to actually cause Naruto any form of difficulty. That's the downside to having a character who can literally power up and create entire geological changes to an entire country with his power alone. Naruto has become that capable to the point where just even seeing him struggle, even slightly, even if he's holding back, even if he's at least trying to get some information, just will not resonate with fans. Storytelling perspective or not, many people have cited this as character assassination to a certain degree. And from my perspective, it's unfortunate, because I don't hate this moment. Seeing Naruto going toe-to-toe with someone who seems fairly powerful. Seeing Naruto decide, okay, you know what, it's too late for you. And just having him decide, block her eye blast, which he was having trouble with before, and just being like, no, none of that, brings out a Rasengan, a giant ball Rasengan, which, Delta starts absorbing like she do. And at first, Kawaki's not catching on to what Naruto's trying to pull. It's just like, oh, she's just going to absorb it again, which Delta also kind of thinks. But then, Boruto starts to figure it out as Naruto starts pouring more and more chakra into it. And he comes to realize exactly what his dad is trying to do. In truth, he's actually kind of testing the limits of what their ninja tech can actually do, specifically the chakra absorption ninja tech. Because ultimately, as he explains later, he realized, wait, if you're just absorbing my attack and then sending it literally right back out, then that means it doesn't dissipate to any certain degree. You're not dissipating it like into the air or, expelling it in some other way. You're holding it within your being. And if that's the truth, there should be a maximum amount of storage capacity for this. And Naruto, as you know, is just someone who has mad chakra. He like that's the Uzumaki clan in a nutshell. Just incredibly large amount of chakra. And so he just starts unleashing it, and Delta realizes it just too late, and as well to a point where her eyes just start bugging out, and she basically loses a lot of her capabilities, and that's ultimately the downside of tying so much of your technology through one central hub. She's no longer able to, use the absorption function. She's no longer able to use her drone, her surveillance drone anymore. And Naruto's just like, yeah, sucks to be you. And, despite Delta still thinking she has a horse in this race, Naruto's just like, yeah, no mercy. And he brings down a massive Rasengan down on her, which by all means should probably kill her. Like, this thing is massive, and her body should just be dust at this point, because she's just overloading and just, it looks like she's dying, straight up. But, most people are under of the assumption that, no, this is how it should have gone from jump. We shouldn't have spent this long on this fight. And from that perspective, I kind of agree, because I feel like this fight has went too long in the tooth. It just kept going too far and just making people doubt what Naruto was capable of. And there should never be any doubts about what your character is capable of. And I feel that people are also burnt out from the perspective of the anime, which does this a lot. Whereas in the manga, you don't see this that often. Naruto kind of getting like at least a little roughed up. But no matter what excuse you make from this, it just comes off to a lot of fans that it's just poor writing, which is unfortunate, because this is Kishimoto is the editor of this series. He doesn't write it, but he has to be the one who approves this, who looks at it and says, yes, go with that, or even tells the author to go with this. So it's going through him in order to have this done. So I don't want people to get it twisted, that, oh, Kishimoto would never. Yes, he would, because he had to see this, say it's okay. He had to, review it and be like, okay, go with that. That sounds like a good idea. So in the end, who's truly to blame for this? I don't know. I don't hate it. Personally, I don't hate it. But I also understand where the fans are coming from with their dislike of the display of Naruto's power that they're seeing here. After seeing someone, become something so much larger than anybody else around them. That's the problem with becoming the very best, is that it's hard to accept when the very best struggles, even to a minor degree. And ultimately, there was not enough hype. There wasn't enough build-up. Wasn't enough to make people understand the power that Delta held. in order to get them to even remotely accept that he had even the slightest bit of a hard time with that fight. And I can only hope the team for this takes that to heart to a certain degree, or at least when we get that anime adaptation, we get that developed to a certain degree, because honestly, I have to agree to a certain point that we don't know enough about Kara to know that they would in any way challenge Naruto, even if he were to be holding back. You know, this has annoyed a lot of people, and it's very unfortunate. Because, you know, I'm happy to see Naruto as he's Hokage, just doing his thing in this role that he sought for so long. But there's always going to be problems when you just have to even things out to a certain degree in order not to make the series boring. If Naruto could take down every enemy with one shot, then it kind of gives you the illusion of, well, what's the point? Naruto's just gonna come in and settle things anyway. Why even have a story about Boruto? And, you know, if people are raising that question, then maybe it's time to reevaluate this series to a certain degree. But, hey, that's just my point of view. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. You know, how do you feel about this fight as a whole and the way it was dealt with? Do you think that it made sense that Naruto would try to overwhelm? Do you feel that ultimately this was all just a result of him holding back too much? Or do you feel that this is just a clear display of what Naruto is capable of? And do you feel that it's character assassination, as I've heard some people go as far as to say? Or did you actually enjoy this and understand it from a storytelling perspective like I did? You know, I was able to accept this a little bit more because I understand what they were going for by having Naruto have even the slightest bit of trouble with this. But again, maybe you didn't. Maybe you did. You know, again, tell me in the comment section below. But if you like this review, feel free to leave me a like. And if you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike and tell me what I did wrong in the comment section below so I might better myself for future videos. And until then, how about subscribing? Because I'll definitely continue to bring you more Boruto, Naruto Next Generation chapter reviews. And hey, just another month older.